Okay, so yesterday we were talking about the triangle midsegment, right? The midsegment in a triangle. Now we're going to use the midsegment of a trapezoid. So looking at 51 through 54, right? Sometimes actually one thing before I move on, the midsegment, sometimes people call it median. So if you guys ever hear the word median or midsegment, when we're talking in geometry with shapes, that's the same thing, okay? Midsegment or median is the same thing. It's basically the segment in the middle. So let's take a look at number 51. The instructions are solve for x. Now, the mid segment, in this case, our mid segment is this segment, the segment yx. That's the mid segment. Now, interesting though, is that the mid segment, it's parallel to two sides this time. The side FE and the side GD. Yesterday, when we were dealing with triangles, the midsegment was only parallel to one of the sides. Now in trapezoids, the segment is parallel to two sides. The way we're going to work this, similar to what we did yesterday, I'm going to look at the midsegment. In this case, it's 4x minus 17. 4x minus 17. And I'm going to multiply all of this by 2. The mid segment, right? The segment in the middle, I'm going to multiply by 2. And this is going to equal to, now because I have two sides that are parallel to the mid segment, I'm just going to add those two sides. 23 plus 31. Mid segment times 2 equals, and then you add the two segments. All right, let me get rid of parentheses. Let me distribute the 2. 2 times 4x and 2 times 17. So I got 8x minus 34 equals, now on the right side, 23 plus 31, I think I can just call that 54. Let me just call this 54. A little bit easier. 23 plus 31. We know that's 54. Okay, so I have 8x minus 34 equals 54. Now let me separate my sides through the equal sign. I want the 8x by itself, so the minus 34. Let me move it to the other side as a plus 34. Don't forget to switch the sign. So that gives me that 8x is equal to 88, right? 54 plus 34 is 88. I want the x by itself. I see an 8 in front of it, so let me divide both sides by 8, and I'm going to get that x is equal to 11. Remember, the mid segment is the one that I multiply by 2, and then in this case, I add the two sides that are parallel to it. All right, let's take a look at number 52. The mid segment is this one in the middle, right? Hence, mid segment, middle, and then it's parallel to two sides. So what I'm going to do, that x plus 4, I'm going to multiply this by 2, right? The mid segment times 2 equals 14 plus 10. I'm adding the two segments, the two sides that are parallel to the mid segment. Now, some of you might ask, does it matter if I go 14 plus 10 or 10 plus 14? No, in addition, it doesn't matter. All right, so let me get rid of parentheses. Let me multiply the 2 to the inside, so I get 2x plus 8 equals, now 14 plus 10, let me just call that 24. I want x by itself, so let me separate this through the equal sign. The plus 8, let me move this as a minus 8. So I have the 2x is equal to 16. To get the x by itself, let me divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 8. Now, I don't want you to think that x is always in the median. Let's take a look at number 53. The median is 23. The x is not always in the median. The median is 23. So in this case, the two sides that are parallel to the median is the side CW and the side YX. The way I'm going to work this, I'm gonna go 23 times 2. It's always the median or mid-segment, however you guys want to call it, the one in the middle times 2 equals, and then I add the other two segments, right? So I'm gonna go 16x minus 5 plus 19. All right, let me separate them through the equal sign. So on the left side, 2 times 23, that gives me 46. On the right side, 16x minus 5 plus 19, well, I cannot combine it all, but at least I can combine some things in there, some like terms. When it comes to letters, I only have 16x. But when it comes to only numbers, negative 5 plus 19, I'm just going to call that plus 14. Okay, I want letters on one side, numbers on the other. I have the 16x on the right side. So my plus 14, let me move it to the other side as a minus 14. Don't forget to switch the sign. So that gives me 32. It's equal to 16x, right? 46 minus 14, that's where I got the 32 from. All right, so we have 32 is equal to 16x. I want the x by itself. There's a 16 in front of it. So let me divide both sides by 16. So I get 2, it's equal to x, right? 32 divided by 16, that's where I got the 2. So 2 is equal to x. There you go. X is equal to 2. So the instructions again are solve for x. What's the value of x? 2. Now let's take a look at number 54. The mid segment or median, again, however you guys want to call it, is 22 in this case. The two sides that are parallel to it are 18 and 5x minus 19. The way I'm going to work this, I'm going to go 22 times 2, right? The mid segment times 2 equals 18 plus 5x minus 19. I add the two sides that are parallel to the mid segment. All right, let me separate them to the equal sign. On the left side, 2 times 22, that gives me 44. On the right side, I cannot combine them all, but at least I can combine some. When it comes to letters, I only have a positive 5x. When it comes to just numbers, I have 18 minus 19. So let me call that minus 1 or a negative 1, however you guys want to call it. Okay, so I have 44 is equal to 5x minus 1. Now I want the 5x by itself. I want the letter by itself. So the minus 1, let me move it to the left as a plus 1. Don't forget to switch the sign. So I have 45 is equal to 5x. To get the x by itself, let's divide both sides by 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. 9 is equal to x, or x is equal to 9. Let me zoom out. So it was always the mid segment times 2 equals, and then you added the two other sides.